So basically, we are talking about the roles that were previously managed through people and or physical systems. So, of course, we saw we saw that before the introduction or the invention of computers, information systems existed, but information technology existed after the pre-mechanical era, uh, after the invention of computers. So we had non-computer based systems that were being used to organize data, and the data that these systems were being used to organize, uh, they were non-electronic in nature. In other words, they were not electronic data. So they were predominantly stored on mediums that can be read by the naked eye, and we can just use our eyes to read from. So we have common examples which would include telephone books. We have some card-based index systems. For example, in a library, if you wanted to go into the library, you are supposed to have a library card. In other words, you're supposed to be a registered member of that library for you to be able to access the library. So it's very important. So there was the traditional card system that was used uh, for the library purposes. That was used for the library purposes. That is an example of a non-computerized or a non-computer based system. We have also things like the file cabinet. We also have the file cabinet that was actually used as a non-computer based system. Now, these non-computer based systems are actually systems that have existed for so many decades, and they have numerous advantages. They also have their own disadvantages as compared to the computer-based methods. So let's look at the advantages. The advantages of the non-computer-based systems. For those taking notes, that is the subtopic of discussion for those taking notes. We said it is a rule in this class that whenever you join, your camera must be on. I hate repeating stuffs because I'm dealing with grown-ups. All right. So the advantages of non-computer based systems. For those who are writing, that is what we are looking at this moment. So the first thing is um, the non-computer based systems have what we call minimal user support. They have minimal user support. The reason is because there is need for training infrastructure. There's need for training infrastructure. So there are systems that have been around for so long. The use of this of these systems is already a common skill. Is somehow a common skill. Okay, it is a common skill. So we have minimal user support, or we have the need for training infrastructure. When I say the need for training infrastructure, I simply mean minimal need. I want you to get this point right. Minimal user support. In other words, you don't we don't need to keep training people on how these systems are used. Why? Because they have existed for a very long time. So we are not required to offer user support constantly to the users of the system. Okay, then we have minimal need for the infrastructure for infrastructure training infrastructure. Why? Because the skills have existed for a long time, so they are common skills among among people. Advantage number 2 is that unauthorized remote data access is impossible. Unauthorized remote data access is impossible. Now, the reason as to why unauthorized remote data access is impossible is simply because we don't have any remote access in general. It is impossible to have remote access. What do you mean by remote access? Is accessing data regardless of your location. You're far from the premises where the data is hosted, but you are still able to access the data. That is what we call remote. So regardless of your geographical area, you are able to access the data. That is what we call remote access. So the unauthorized, the non-computer based systems in general do not support remote access. So that means we cannot have people accessing the data. We cannot have people that are unauthorized accessing the data remotely. Scenarios like, we can't have scenarios like hacking, somebody hacking into the system and then get the information they want to get from the system. That is what I simply mean. We can't have such a scenario. So it is an advantage. When you look at the computer based, we have that scenario because people are able to access data remotely. Then it basically means that we can have malicious people who are going to really hack into our systems and access data. Rukia, now you can hear me. Is the issue resolved? Or you are just watching me? Yes?
I can hear you. I can hear you.
Okay, position your camera well.
Huh?
I want you to position your camera well. I don't know why you like hiding your face.
Niko sawa.
We uko sawa, mi siko sawa, na mimi ndio nasema, mi ndio mwalimu. So we decide, you either listen to me or I listen to you. Choose one.
Yeah, mom.
I become the student, you become the teacher.
My seat is short.
No, it is not short because previously you were okay. So you have intentionally done that. And let's not waste time. Let's not waste time. I like students who do exactly what I say. Thank you. Yeah, we might be teaching here, kumbe tunafundisha jambazi na hatujui. Yeah, that's okay. All right, let's continue. Okay, so I want us to move to the next advantage. I want us to move to the next advantage. So the next advantage is basically I hope you have understood the 2 points. The third advantage is we are actually able to store physical items. We are able to store physical items. With the non-computer based systems, we are able to store physical items. So when you compare the non-computer based systems with the computer based systems, in the computer based system, data has to be digitalized. For us to store data, we have to digitalize the data for storage. But in the non-computer based systems, we are able to store the physical items. Okay, we can store items which exist in a physical medium. That is the third advantage. The fourth advantage is data is not lost when stored. 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 So unlike in a computer-based system where scanning in a document can actually lose data. For example, if you're dealing with any three-dimensional data, the object that is processed. Actually, you can, for example, if you're editing some information or you are scanning through a Word document, you can delete something unknowingly. Yeah, you can delete data unknowingly. You can actually mess up with data unknowingly. So there is likelihood that data is going to be lost. There's likelihood that data, or there are higher chances of losing data in the computer-based systems. But when we look at the non-computer-based system, when we store data, we cannot easily lose data. Something that is written cannot easily be deleted. Okay. The other point is the durability to certain things. There is durability to certain things. In other words, the non-computer based systems cannot be affected by uh, impervious interruption in electrical supply. For example, when power goes off, we are still able to access the data that we want to access. If we were writing on a book and power goes off, we don't lose what we have written. But if we are typing on a computer and power goes off and we have not saved our work, we lose what we have written. So it provides us the durability to some certain things. Things like we've talked about the power. We have things like electromagnetic pulses. We have things like computer viruses also, because computer viruses can destroy files, can destroy data. But when we are dealing with a non-computer based um, system, the data cannot be destroyed by viruses, electricity interruptions, and also the electromagnetic impulses. Last but not least, under the advantages, the data that is stored in the non-computer based systems can be damaged through what we call direct physical access. It can only be damaged through direct physical access. In other words, if somebody intends to damage the data, they need to have a physical access to that data for them to be able to destroy the data. They should be able to access that file, they should be able to access that book, uh, they should be able to access whichever or whatever hard copy device or document that you have your data in. So they must have a physical access. If they do not have a physical access, then damaging that data is not possible. So if they want to burn down the data, they must go to that premise and put or ignite fire on the data and have the data burnt down. So it's very important, it's very essential for us to know those advantages. Now, we said the non-computer based systems have their advantages, they also have their disadvantages. So on to the disadvantages. The first one is durability. Durability to certain things. Alex, what are you saying? Your hand is up.
Yeah, kwa advantages hapo kwa durability, I think
Yes.
the computer-based system is the best because we talked about the viruses. What if you upload your data to the cloud, like backup?
You think what? I did not get your first statement. Huh? Come up.
I, I think the computer-based system is the best in terms of durability because
It is the
what
best
if,
in terms. You think it is the best in terms of durability?
yeah,
Okay.
we talked about the computer viruses. What if you make a copy and store it in the cloud, like backup your data? So when the data is destroyed, you can easily access it, the backed up data.
Now, remember my point is durability to certain things. Durability to certain things. Okay. So, okay, we are saying the non-computer based are durable. You will have to switch off your mic, then you listen to me, then you will turn it on when you want to speak to avoid the echo. So, we are saying they are durable to viruses. Why? Because they cannot be attacked by viruses. They cannot be attacked by viruses. So we mentioned about viruses. We mentioned about impervious, interruption in terms of electrical supply. We talked about electromagnetic pulses. Okay, if we are storing data in the cloud, remember the data that we are storing in the cloud is still existing in what? In servers. Are you forgetting that? The data is existing in servers, but it is accessible on remote locations. Now, these servers needs to be powered. Or you want to tell me we can have a cloud server that is going to be there without electricity? It needs to be powered. So assuming that electricity is gone and we don't have a backup generator, what is going to happen? Accessibility to the data becomes an issue, right? We can still hack into those servers. We can still hack into them and affect information. So okay, the computer based is also durable, but it is durable to some certain things also. Okay, for example, the loss of data through human use of the system. So you see, durability, we are looking at durability as an advantage, but we'll also look it as a disadvantage, depending on how we argue it out. Because durability to certain things will also be a disadvantage to the non-computer based systems. How? Because we can easily lose data through the simple human use of the system, the person using that system. Or for example, through water damage. You can use data through water damage. Okay? We can also lose data from the degrading of the ink and paper. Handwritten information, with time, the ink degrades on the paper. So we are not able to see. At times you see, I don't know how to call it, but the ink has spread on whatever you written to a point now you cannot read whatever you wrote there. So durability to certain things is an advantage, but it is also a disadvantage at the same time, depending on how you look at it. Is your question answered? Yes? So shall we continue?
Yeah,
All right.
you can continue.
Yes, Rukia. You have, I saw your hand up, then you brought it down.
Hakuna sija.
Weka kamera vizuri. Tusisumbuane. Weka kamera vizuri, tusisumbuane. I want you to be at the center of the window. You hurry up, we save time. And I don't want to talk about this again. Be at the center of the window. Yeah? Be proud of how you look. Okay. Let's continue. So the disadvantages. Let's look at the first disadvantage, which is the durability to certain things. Durability to certain things, which was also an advantage, a concern that Alex had brought up. Now, the non-computer based systems, the data in there, or the media that we use to store data, is not durable to some other things. It is durable to some things like electricity, things like viruses, things like electromagnetic impulse, but it is not durable to things like the human use of the system, like the person using the system. Okay, the person writing that book, the person might accidentally tear down, or maybe might do what? The person might have a liquid spill on the document. See, things like that. So it is not durable to, in those things. Then we talked about the water damage. Yeah, it can be damaged by water. Then we have the ink and paper degrading over time. That is advantage, a disadvantage. The second disadvantage is the difficulty in backing up data. The difficulty in backing up data. So it's difficult to back up data in the non-computer based systems. Okay. And when data is difficult to back up, then it means there is increased susceptibility to lose the data. You can simply lose the data. If something happens to that document, that's it. We don't have the data. Now, why is it difficult to lose data? Because you have to make copies of the same document, and you're making them by hand. So you can imagine how tiresome that is, especially when you're dealing with huge chunks of data. Disadvantage number 3, the non-computer based systems can result into what we call excessive amounts of redundant data, as relationships are actually made between the data sets, and we have any changes that are made to the data. Now, if you make any changes into the data that is actually relating with any other with some other data, then it is going to be the changes that you make might not be, it's not actually easy or possible to push those changes that you have made throughout the system like you can do in a computer. If you update the payments page in a computer, any other page that is connected to the payment page is updated. For example, if you change your name, you change your name in the database. You change your name in the database. Then when we go to the finance departments, your name has also changed. When we go to maybe to check your units, your courses and everything, your name has changed. But you see, if you change your name in the records book, you have to manually go and change the name in the accounts book. You have to manually go and change the name in the MacBook, of which pushing in or forcing in those changes into those various documents or data is not possible. You have to create maybe a fresh page, then you do that. So it means we can have the excessive amounts of redundant data. Last but not least, on the disadvantages, we have we require manual processes. We require manual processes to do activities like querying the data, sorting the data, and even maintaining the system. So querying the data. If you want to know information about a student, you have to manually go through page after page, manually go through a row after row, or rather column after column, to actually get the details of that person. So querying that information or that storage media is actually requiring a manual process. If you want to arrange the students in terms of their performance, you cannot just click a button and give a formula like you do in Excel. You need to go there and manually arrange them. You look at who has the highest, then followed by who has a mark that is higher than the highest mark, and you categorize them in that order manually. You have to do that manually. So since data can only be accessed sequentially and can only be accessed by a limited number of people at a time. For instance, if one staff is using the the accounts book, we cannot have other staffs using it at the same time. So only one person can actually access that particular document or that particular information at a time. So again, you have limited number of people that can access the information at a time. Now, the result of that, of course, is it is going to slow down the use. It is going to limit the effectiveness of the system when we have a large number of users to use the system. So those are the disadvantages. Ask me a question. I want to move to comparing the roles that are played by non-computer based systems and those that are played by the computer based systems. I want to compare the roles that are played by the non-computer based systems and the computer based systems. Musa, go ahead.
I have a question, sir.
Yes.
It's about the advantages of non-computer based system. You said one of the advantages is data is not lost or stored. But it's
Data
that
is not
any data is not lost or stored. One of the
when
advantages.
stored.
But data is easily lost in non-computer based systems. Isn't that the case? As
How? Argue
in
it out.
writing in books. Like writing it in books, and it's easily lost. I think so. I think about that.
Unless the book is stolen or damaged.
Yeah, but let's say
Unless the
the
book
opposite.
is stolen or damaged. Yeah?
Yeah. But the opposite of it is that computer-based system is that data is not easily lost in computer-based system because you can encrypt the data and so on.
So when you encrypt data, you cannot lose data.
As in, it's compared to non-computer-based systems.
No. You know, if we are talking about data loss in the computer-based systems, we are looking at the various ways how data can be lost. The first one is either the book is stolen. The second one is either the book is, if we are using a book, the book is damaged, right? Either by water, by fire, or by somebody was using it and damages it. So those are only two ways. The book is stolen or damaged. Now let's go to the computer. How can data be lost in the computer? One, you can accidentally delete it. Okay. Number two, what can happen is a virus can attack it. Is that okay? Number three, the system can crash. And once the system crashes, maybe you're not able to access the data for some time. Yeah. If your laptop breaks and it like everything in tatters, including the hard disk cannot work. You see now, it's not easy to access. It's possible to retrieve the information, but it's not easy. So data is lost. Those are already three. We are not even going to the fourth one. Then you tell me which one is going to be better. Number four, in the computer-based systems, when we have data in there, apart from the system crashing, okay, assuming that we are working on data, we have updated data, but we have not clicked save. Yeah, you have updated maybe 3 pages, but you have not clicked save yet, and then power goes. What happens? You lose data. So you see, there are so many ways of losing data in the computer based than in the non-computer based. Is it making sense now? Yes. Again, the fifth one, somebody can hack into the system and delete everything. Is it making sense? Are you okay now? Thank you. Any other question? Should I proceed? All right, so let's go on. If you have any question, you will bring it up. So we are comparing, we are making a comparison of the roles that are being played by non-computer based systems and those that are played by computer based systems. So when we look at, we begin by looking at uh, the non-computerized system. Their roles, actually these roles are similar, but the way they are done is the difference. So I'm going to look at the non-computerized, then we compare it with the computerized. For instance, let's talk about banking in the non-computerized systems. Let's talk about banking in the non-computerized systems. So in banking, every transaction that is done using pen and paper. You are going to withdraw money. Somebody goes to the book, to your book, your page, and checks how much you have in there, then manually subtracts the money that you want to withdraw, then writes the balance there and gives you the money. Yeah, so it's done manually, every transaction. You want to deposit, you go there, you give the money. Now somebody writes the date, then the amount, and then updates the total. So every transaction is actually done manually. When you look at the computerized, the transactions are done using computers. The transactions are done using computers. For instance, nowadays, you only need to if you want to deposit, maybe you are doing mobile banking, you deposit in the bank, and automatically the databases get updated automatically. So the updates are done using computers. The transactions are done using computers in the computer based, and they are done using pen and paper in the non-computer based. Again, still under banking, transactions can only be done during working hours. In the banking, if you are using non-computerized systems, you can only do transactions in the working hours. Only when the bank is open, only when the staff are there. That's the only time you can do transactions. But if it's not working hours, you cannot do transactions. But if you look at the the computerized, you can do transactions almost 24 hours, anytime. Anytime. If nobody is there, you can use the mobile banking services to access money, or you can go to the ATM lobby while the counters are not there. Just go to the ATM lobby, put in your ATM card, put in your PIN, and withdraw money and walk away. So in the computerized or the computer-based, transactions are done 24/7. Then transactions in the non-computerized banking can only be done at the bank branches. It can only be done at the bank branches. What does it mean? If you opened your bank in Mombasa, KCB Bank Mombasa, you cannot withdraw money in KCB Bank in Malindi. Why? Because they do not have information about you. Your information was written in a book, and the book is in Mombasa. So you cannot withdraw money. You cannot even withdraw money there. But now, because you have computerized systems, all these branches are working on the same database. They are using the same database. All these branches across the country are using the same database. Okay? So because they are using the same database, if information is updated in Mombasa, automatically that same information is updated for the other branches. So you can withdraw in Mombasa and your balance reads maybe $100. When you go to Malindi, your balance won't read $150. It will still read $100. If you withdraw $10 in Malindi, then you come back to Mombasa, your balance will read $90. But that is not possible with the non-computerized, because they're not sharing. There's no information sharing, in other words. The last thing about the banking in non-computerized, we have customers that may need to wait in long queues in the bank branches. So when we have non-computerized banking, we have long queues of customers that wait for their turn, okay, that they are waiting for their turn to be served in the bank. Now, in the computer based, we don't even have queues. We don't even have long queues. Why? Because computer literate people can simply access their services at home. Yeah? Not everybody goes to the bank and keeps a line and wants to withdraw money. Some of them go there and they go straight to the ATM lobby. That is nowadays, that's why nowadays if you go to the banks, you don't stay there for long because there are few people that needs to be served. Most people are able to access their services remotely. So that's it. Those we have compared 4 things. It's important to bring out that comparison. Let's look at the education center. The education center. So in the education, in the non-computerized system, we do teaching and learning process using what we call the chalkboard and talk methods. Chalkboard and talk method. So the walimu wanakula vumbi sana because they are using chalk, or they are using nowadays we have felt pens, right? They are doing a lot of writing, okay? And those teachers used to have very good handwritings because they were practicing it every day. It's not like today's teachers who are using computers and projectors and everything. The handwriting doesn't matter at all. So teaching was done through the chalk and board methods. Now, in the computerized, of course, we are doing teaching or teaching and learning process using ICT. If I want to write a note for you right now, I just need to open my dashboard. Not dashboard, I mean my chalkboard, my board here. And I type on the board. If I want to do a presentation, I just need to create a PowerPoint presentation and I can teach with it. When I want to go to the next point, I click next and I go to next and I go to next as I teach. Yeah. So we are free now to dress nicely because we know we are not going to get that from chalks, because now IT is at work. Now, again in the education, teaching and learning process is less interesting because we have students that are referring only to written materials for reference. So when teaching and learning is based on chalk and board, that kind of teaching is not interesting. Yeah, that's why in our classes back in high school, people used to sleep a lot. You're just listening to somebody talking, you're referring to a written material, something that is not interesting. But when you go to the computer based now, we have other resources apart from written resources. So we have teaching and learning is now becoming more interesting because we have students that are able to refer to some digital content. They can refer to some digital books. They can refer to some digital libraries. They can watch videos. They can listen to audios. Yeah, so they can engage. Now, when you're watching a video, you are engaged both visually and the other one is what? Visually and somebody is saying
Mentally.
audioly. No, I'm saying visually and the ears. It will be what?
Yearly.
For the eyes is visually. The ear is what? Yes? Go back to an English class. Sawa. It's nothing like yearly. We go back and learn English. Anyway, that is a by the way. All right. So in the non-computerized based, again, we have school administrators that are keeping records on paper. And if we keep records on paper, of course, we understand that takes up a lot of space. So a new student is here, is registered on a book, in a book. Marks registered in a book. Yeah? Attendance in a book. So everything is right. So the teacher leaves office, and the fingers are swollen because they have really written. When in office, writing. When in class, writing. Yeah. And then you can tell me, if the school has many students, then how many books do we need? So it takes a lot of space, because we are storing in written form. It takes a lot of space. It takes a lot of space. When you go to the computerized, here we have the school administrators keeping records using digital database systems. We have database systems, so it's easy to store information there. It's easy to query information. You can just query information, and boom, with a click of button, and you see everything you want to see about a student. So that's it with education. Let's talk about industry. In the non-computerized systems, production is actually assisted with production is totally depending on human labor. It is totally depending on human labor. When we are working with a non-computerized system, you are producing something, you are totally depending on people. Yeah, of course, in the computer-based production, it can be assisted by some machines that are computerized. You can be assisted by computerized machines and robots. Nowadays, you can go into a hotel and you are served by a robot. A robot brings your food. Yeah, the kitchen. I saw a video the other day of a robot cooking a meal. You see, so in the computerized, we have computerized systems. We also have robots that are assisting us in the production work. Again, in the non-computerized systems, we need more time for production. More time is needed for production, because since we are depending on human labor, human are slow in terms of doing things as compared to computers. So we need more time. More time is needed. More time for production is needed as compared to the computerized, because in the computerized we need less time, because machines and robots are faster. Machines and robots are faster in terms of carrying out tasks. Also, in the industry, when we are using an non-computer based or non-computerized systems, we have low production output. We have low production output because the production speed is low. Then it means the output is going to be low as well. If you're making shoes and you're making it by hand, everything is by hand, then maybe a person can make 10 copies a day, and you have employed 10 people, so those are 100 copies. But one machine can create 1,000 copies a day, 1,000 pairs a day. So the production output is low for the non-computer based. Then again, under industry, the profit that we generate in the non-computer based is low. Okay, we have less profit. Why less profit? Because we have low output. We have low output, so the profit is gonna be less. In the computer based, we have more profit because we have high production output. Last but not least, let's talk about the commerce. So in the non-computer based or in the non-computerized, advertisement is done via word of mouth. Of course, advertisement is done in the word of mouth form. We use word of mouth, we use billboards, and we also use flyers. Word of mouth, billboards, and printed flyers are used in the non-computerized. So when we come to the computerized, we're doing advertisement via internet and mobile phones. Advertisement is done via internet and mobile phones. Again, still in e-commerce, the product distribution in the non-computer based, the product distribution is slower, and it is also less secure, because if we need to send a product, we must send someone. We must send someone. Even when we are selling softwares, we have to send someone to the client to submit a flash disk. But at that time, software was not there, so we can't use software as an example. So basically, we for example, if it's let's say we are offering consultation services, it means now it's either you go to the office or the person comes to your office for services, and that makes it slow. Goods that are transmitted that way are less secure. On the other hand, in the computerized commerce, the product distribution is faster and it is more secure. Product distribution is faster and is more secure. Still under industry, in the non-computerized, we have we are doing more of local trading. In the non-computerized systems, we are doing more of local trading. Tony, you're not writing anything. I'm wondering, you're such a genius. Yeah? Tony, you are such a genius. You are busy showing me the
I'm right.
curtains instead of writing. Where are you writing?
Andika.
Where? Oh, I didn't see you writing. Then I was wondering. Yeah? As you enjoy your father's seat, you just need to realize you won't enjoy it forever. A time will come when you have to move out and sit on your own seat. Okay? Yeah, so enjoy it as time lasts. But don't be too comfortable. Yes? All right, that's a by the way. Let's go on. So still in the commerce. Yes. I had someone talking. I said you lift your hand if you have an issue. Who was that talking? Are you guys okay? We go on. All right, let's go on. So in the commerce, in the non-computerized, it is actually difficult or not given at all in terms of after sale services. After sale services, it is hard to give customers after sale services. What is an after sale service? You have bought a product from me. You are going to use that product, and that product brings an issue, or there are things that you do not know, you do not properly know how to use that device. I should be able to offer after sale services where you can contact me and I can explain to you what to do. Okay? That is what we call after sale services. But if I'm just working in the non-computerized, I cannot offer that after sale service. It's difficult to offer the after sale service. You take the product, you go. If it works, okay. If it doesn't work, that's none of your business. It's like that's none of our business. It's like these hawkers selling power banks. If you have ever bought a power bank from a hawker, they sell to you very expensive. it charges your phone. The moment you reach home, you try to charge it, it cannot charge. And that's it. And your money is gone that way because you cannot reach that hawker. You cannot reach that hawker. So there's no after-sale services in the non-computerized systems. But in the computerized systems, you can easily offer after-sale services to customers. They can simply place a call, make a call, and you respond to their queries. So I'm stopping there for today. From tomorrow, we are going to start outcome 4, where we are going to analyze the roles people have in information systems.